Hello, thank you for joining me here at Bert's Books tonight, where this time I'm attempting an alternate recording arrangement. We'll see how this goes. I've rigged up my normal camera with a tripod, and the sound quality probably isn't going to be exemplary because really I need an external mic, and I'm going to rely on the onboard one just for the purposes of this. Look on this as a bit of a test. Anyway, this is just going to be a bit of a ramble on recent acquisitions. So first off, I've had this very kindly sent to me from by Nicky Jones, bass player of the popular musical ensemble Jukebox Monkey. Give them a listen. Hopefully when gigs are back and when gigs are happening again, you can go and see them. But anyway, Nick has very kindly sent me a copy of this, the Confessions of a Stuntman, which I think he told me that he found on the book donation point in a local supermarket to him. And if I remember this rightly, his other half was disgusted that this was in the house, and rightly so. It's as you can probably tell, it's a knockoff of the Confession series. Once that got popular, I think it was a bit of a free-for-all in derivative kind of churn-outs. And this one seems to, I've not got very far through it. It seems to actually, oh shit, there's boobs on the cover. It seems to consist pretty much of vaguely risque wisecracks. That's it. It's kind of one of those, I suppose, rather typical, as if written by a wannabe playboy, smart ass kind of books. So yes, it's a disgraceful object. Thank you for that, Nick. Next up, A Nest of Nightmares by Lisa Tuttle. This is one of the paperbacks from Hell series by Valancourt Books. They have a line in very nicely reproduced reissues of out-of-print horror titles. Really, really nicely produced, actually. Great paper quality. Superb. Look at that cover illustration. It's superb. So I'm about halfway through this. All short stories, all of a sort of uncanny or weird or sinister nature. Really good. Unfortunately, I'm a bit confused about what the arrangement is, if any, with Valancourt's publications in the UK. I've kind of had to go through, I think it's eBayers in the States who offer the kind of slow postage the slow postage option. I've had a couple of these now. This one and the Rockstar one, and I'm struggling to think of the name of it. It'll come to me. Stage Fright, I think it's called. But they're really, really nice editions, and I would recommend you check out their catalogue and what they're doing. Next up, this is Heinrich Boll's The Train Was on Time. Now, I've covered a certain amount of war pulps, or of the kind of more mass market nature. This is much more of a genuine article. It tells the story of a 24-year-old, I think he's an infantryman, who finds himself returning from leave. So he's waiting for this troop train in Germany to take him back to the Eastern Front. And the idea takes hold in his brain that on this, I don't know if you'd call it a tour of duty, I don't know if they called it that, but that he's not going to come back. He suddenly becomes acutely aware of his own mortality and the idea that death is going to happen soon, with a capital S, and this kind of, I suppose, panic attack of some form grips him during this journey, and you kind of see his mental processes and how he tries to counteract them by interacting with his fellow soldiers during this journey. I'm only part way through, so it's you know, it's a very different animal from the usual kind of trashy war pulp that I would cover generally, but you know, I do sometimes read proper books. Next, back to, I suppose, the more you could say standard, I suppose it's not, but back to the sort of more pulpy treatment of Second World War matters. This is Robert R. McCammon's The Night Boat, which is kind of a war horror crossover. It concerns, I suppose it's a zombie U-boat crew. They've gone down in a blaze of glory somewhere in the Caribbean, and then 35 years later, this downed submarine surfaces, and there are strange knockings inside. This is kind of a recent acquisition. I've not got very far with it. Classic kind of early 80s trashy pulp cover. Look at that. It's I suppose that represents whichever form of Nazi zombie that this volume is dealing with. Finally, Richard Allen, I've been meaning to get around to for some time. It's kind of difficult to talk about the area of pulp that I've been dealing with and not give Richard Allen a mention. He's kind of the, if you're not familiar with him, he's one of the major names in youth cult pulps from the 70s, whose his highest profile output would have been the Skinhead novels. By the time that these were reproduced in the 90s, in you got sort of three novels in a series of single volumes. The ones here are slightly outside of his Skinhead remits. They're the first one is Demo, and the other two kind of concern his he had a period sort of dealing with the glam genre rather than the skinhead genre, although with significant crossovers thematically. I think I'll probably go into this one in more detail at some point. It's a whole story in its own right. I'm kind of not wild about the choice of cover picture on this one actually, which is might be more appropriate to the dedicated skinhead titles rather than these, which strictly aren't. The two glam related books in here, Teeny Bopper Idol and Glam, both had the original covers of those were very much thematically appropriate to the that 70s period, rather than just some kind of generic skinhead on a moped. But I think this one I will come back to. There's a lot to talk about here. Not all of it very pretty. Anyway, I'm keeping it brief tonight. Just looking at this as a bit of a tester for what this camera's going to do. But I hope everyone's keeping well out there, and catch you on the other side of all this. Cheers.